I stared into the rearview mirror, my hands shaking so badly I could barely keep a grip on the wheel. The lights behind me went out. Just vanished. But the massive, black silhouette of a truck didn't disappear. I could see it blocking the stars. It was rolling closer, coasting, without lights, without the sound of an engine. Only the hiss of tires on wet asphalt, closing the distance at a terrifying speed. The radio, silent for the past 2 hours, suddenly came to life. Through the static crackle, a voice emerged, soft, raspy, but clear. "You missed the turn, buddy." I slammed the accelerator to the floor, knowing my loaded rig wouldn't outrun it. These are 3 truly chilling stories from long-haul truckers. I've been in trucking for 12 years. I've seen accidents, drunk drivers, strange people at rest stops. But what made me quit a major logistics company and buy a pistol happened in the forests of northern Idaho. It was late October. I was hauling construction materials to a private site deep in the mountains. The GPS showed about 40 miles left to the delivery point, but the paved road had ended half an hour ago. Now I crawled along a gravel road, flanked by walls of pine. The trees stood so close together it felt less like a forest than a prison grate. The first odd thing happened 10 minutes in. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw movement to the right. I turned my head, nothing. Just the forest. But the feeling of being watched pricked the back of my neck. I dismissed it as fatigue. I'd been driving for 9 hours. The road narrowed. Branches began scratching the sides of the cab and trailer. The sound was unpleasant, like claws scraping metal. I checked the GPS. The blue line confidently led forward. I thought, okay, the client knows where they're building, trucks must pass through here. A mile later, I saw it. A sign in the middle of the road. A regular yellow diamond, detour. The arrow pointed to a narrow cut through the trees, veering left. Straight ahead, the road was blocked by the trunk of a fallen tree. I stopped. Something was off. The trunk blocking the way looked too clean. The cut was fresh. No branches, no leaves. Just a bare, massive log, neatly laid across the road. I hit the high beams and looked at the cut-through on the left. It looked old, overgrown. The ruts were deep and muddy. If I tried to drive through with a full load, I'd bottom out. I decided to get out and inspect the blockage. Maybe I could winch the log out if it wasn't too heavy. I opened the door. Cold air hit my face. Silence was absolute. No birds, no wind. Only the hum of my engine idling. I jumped down, grabbed a crowbar, old habit, and approached the tree. It was enormous. I couldn't move it. But as I stepped closer, I saw strange marks on the bark. Not saw cuts. Deep gashes, as if someone had hacked at it with an axe, filled with unimaginable rage. I turned back to the cab to grab a tow rope and froze. In the beam of my headlights, down that detour path, something gleamed. I squinted. A windshield. There, in the depths of the forest, 50 meters from the road, stood another truck. Its cab was skewed, half sunk in the mud. Dark. Dead. And then I realized. This wasn't a detour. It was a graveyard. I ran to my truck. Didn't walk, ran. Jumped onto the running board, yanked the door open. And that's when I heard it. Not from the forest. From under my own trailer. Heavy footsteps on gravel. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Someone, or something, was coming out from beneath the rear axle of my truck. I slammed the door, locked it. My heart pounded in my throat. In the rearview, I saw movement. A figure in a dark cloak emerged from behind the trailer. In its hand, something long. In the light of my marker lamps, I saw what it was. Not an axe. A bolt cutter. Massive, industrial. It didn't look at the cab. It crouched by my rear wheels. I threw the truck in gear. Forget the tree. I floored it. The truck roared. I hit the bumper into the log. The impact was brutal, threw me forward, the seatbelt slammed into my chest. The log rolled but didn't clear the road entirely. I reversed, hearing the figure behind scream something unintelligible. I slammed forward again. Bumper crumpled, headlight shattered, but the truck rolled over the log with a wild screech. I didn't stop for the next 100 miles. When I finally reached a lit gas station and inspected the truck, I vomited. All the brake lines on the trailer were slashed. One more pull, and I would have been brakeless on a mountain descent. But the scariest part wasn't that. On the dirty rear door of the trailer, one word was etched in a finger. Almost. I thought nothing could be worse than encountering maniacs in the woods. I was wrong. Sometimes, the road terrifies because there is no one on it. No one at all. This story happened 2 years ago on I-80 across Wyoming. This stretch is called the Loneliness Road for a reason. Winter here is hell. Wind strong enough to flip empty trucks like toys. It was 3 a.m. The snowstorm had just started. Snow flew sideways, hypnotic in the headlights. I was convoying with another trucker. We didn't know each other personally, just met at a rest stop and decided to stick together to avoid falling asleep. Over the radio, he introduced himself as Dutch. His old Peterbilt had bright orange marker lights. We chatted for about an hour. Diesel prices, family, stupid logistics. Dutch's voice was calm, slightly tired. Visibility's dropping, he said. I'll slow to 40. Copy, I replied. Holding your tail. I could see his marker lights ahead. 2 red squares in the white haze. My only guide. Lose them, and I could slide off the road and freeze to death before anyone found me. 20 minutes passed. Snow intensified. Dutch's lights barely visible. Hey, Dutch, you okay? I asked over the radio. Silence. Just static. Dutch? Come in. Nothing. I thought maybe a dead zone or antenna issues. I pressed the gas a bit, closing the distance. The lights ahead grew brighter. Relief. But a few minutes later, something seemed off. The lights ahead weren't swaying. On this road, even a flat stretch makes a truck breathe on the suspension. These lights were static. As if painted. And the distance between them, wrong. Too wide for a standard trailer. Dutch, respond, my voice trembled. Your brake lights aren't working. Radio clicked. I'm here, the voice said. But it wasn't Dutch. Similar, but the tone, flat. Mechanical. Like someone chopped words from different recordings and glued them together. Who is this? Where's Dutch? I'm here, the voice repeated. Come to me. I hit the brakes. My truck skidded, but stability control corrected it. I stopped mid-highway. The lights ahead stopped too. Instantly. No skid marks. Just frozen. I clutched the wheel, staring into the blizzard. And then the lights began to scatter. Left light drifted left, right light drifted right. Rising into the air, 5 meters above the road. It wasn't a truck. Why did you stop? The radio asked, same glitched voice. It's cold. I shifted into reverse. Never backed up on a highway before, but at that moment, I didn't care. I prayed no one was behind me. The lights floated closer, ignoring the wind. I spun the truck across the lanes, risking a rollover, and tore in the opposite direction. I drove recklessly until I saw snowplow lights. At the nearest rest area, I ran into the cafe, trembling. Cops were there. I told them about the truck, the lights. They exchanged glances. "Son," said the senior officer, I-80's been closed for 4 hours. Barriers down 50 miles back. No one could have been there. But I talked to him. Dutch. Officer frowned. Dutch? In a blue Peterbilt? Yes. We found his truck yesterday morning. Ran off the road into a ravine. He's dead, kid. I went back to my cab, locked the doors, drew the curtains. Didn't sleep until dawn. All night, my unplugged radio clicked faintly. You may not believe in ghosts, and neither do I. But I believe in people. And people are the scariest thing on the road. Especially those who know no one will find them. This past summer, I was hauling electronics from Texas to Oregon. Route crossed empty Nevada deserts. I love night runs, cool, few cars. Around 2 a.m., I had to relieve myself. 80 miles to the nearest rest area. I spotted a turn onto an old service road to an abandoned radio tower. I decided to pull off, get 50 meters from the highway, take care of business, then continue. I turned. Road dusty, rocky. I went a bit further so highway lights wouldn't reach me. Engine off, lights off. Complete darkness. I stepped out, stretched my back. Desert silence pressed in on my ears. Only the crackle of cooling engine. I was heading back to the cab when I heard a sound. Click. A lock opening. I froze. Sound came from the other side, passenger door. My hood-nosed truck meant walking around a long front to reach it. I crouched, peering under the truck. Moonlight glinted on boots. Someone was at the passenger step. Panic raced through my mind. Did this person have a key? Or a lockpick? The boots started climbing. He was getting into the cab. Phone inside. Gun in glove box. I stood outside, in the desert night, as a stranger entered my rolling home. If I screamed, he could drive off. Or step out and kill me. I decided to act quietly. I crept around the rear of the truck. I heard the passenger door close softly. Cab shifted slightly. He was inside. I had a spare key hidden under the frame near the batteries. Fingers trembling, I found it. Plan insane, open driver door, grab the crowbar in the door pocket, and, what next? Key in lock. Turn. Click felt like thunder. I yanked the door open, jumped in, crowbar in hand. Cab empty. I turned on the lights. No one. Sleeper curtained. I gripped the crowbar until knuckles whitened and yanked the curtain back. Empty. Heavy breathing. Maybe I imagined it. Metal cooling? Boots, shadow trick? I sat in the seat, feeling foolish. Key in ignition. And then I smelled it. Dirty body, old sweat, damp earth. Sharp, nauseating, not there 5 minutes ago. Slowly, I looked in the rearview. On the top bunk, where I store parts boxes, something moved. From the dark, right above my head, a face stared at me. Pale, wide unblinking eyes, gaping mouth missing half its teeth. It had been there all along. Not entered the cab. Crawled out of the tool drawer beneath the sleeper while I was outside. Drive, it whispered, directly in my ear. I don't remember getting out. Just running across the desert to the highway, arms flailing at passing cars. Police arrived 20 minutes later. Truck still there. No one inside. Only my own kitchen knife lay on the passenger seat, and a neat pile of dirt on the dashboard. They never found him. Since then, I only sleep in hotels. And every time I get in the truck, I check the rear seat. And you? Did you check your back seat before heading home today? Or are you just hoping no one's there? These were 3 terrifying stories. Good night. If you can sleep at all.